President Yannick DaCosta couldn't make it today, and the Guild goes live as always the first Friday of the month. Why am I a little bit out of breath? Because my dog started barking and I had to run downstairs and close the door. I'm really excited to be here, but can you believe it's already March? It's March 1st today, and we always go live on the first Friday. So, who am I? I'm Ed Shems. You can find me pretty much everywhere as Ed Fred Ned. And not only am I a longtime volunteer, I'm the Guild's BFF. That's right. But I do other stuff as well. I'm a kids book illustrator, a comic artist, Etsy seller, and a graphic designer specializing in branding, packaging, and working with my clients to figure out what they need based on the goals they've set. That last part should sound familiar to those of you watching. We may be freelancers or solopreneurs, but we're small business owners who need to not only get the work done to make our clients shine, we also need to hold their hand sometimes. So, oh, wait, what is the Graphic Arts Guild? I can't believe I haven't started with that. Okay, but first, chat me up. I'm gonna go get to the chat stream right here. There we go. Okay, chat me up and let me know if what I'm talking about holding your client's hand sounds familiar to you. I think it should. It should sound familiar to quite a lot of us, because part of our job, we are not only the ones who do the work, we have to also do the invoicing. We have to do the finding prospects and connecting with other people. It's a big job. So anyone out there who's a freelancer and doing it on their own, that's awesome. Congrats. So let me tell you about the Graphic Arts Guild, because this is the perfect place for you to be right now. So the Guild is a member-based trade association focused on supporting and protecting our members' interests in the creative industries. But even if you're not a member, our efforts help you. We advocate on Capitol Hill. Has anyone heard of this little thing called AI or machine learning? Yeah, kidding, of course. I know all of you have. All of us are wondering what it's going to mean for our industries, for what we do, for our friends, for the work that we've done in the past that maybe I'm sure we didn't have anything in our contracts that said no using our work for machine learning. So there's so much for us to be keeping an eye on and hoping to kind of, work our point of view into whatever legislation is going to come out. We're working on that, and that work benefits all small business creatives. Here's another one. Have you heard of the Handbook for Pricing and Ethical Guidelines? Well, that's the industry Bible that helps you, me, all of us learn how to run our businesses, and importantly, how to price our work. Let me show you the book. If anyone joined me and James Stowe over the last few months in our Mind Your Creative Business talk, you'll know that I keep my book right here on top of my scanner because it's a nice hefty book and it gives me better scans. It holds down the top to my scanner. So I know you're seeing this backwards. So here, maybe that helps. Nope, not at all. This is the handbook. This is the 16th edition. And right now, the 17th edition is in the works. Oh, and that reminds me, I have two guests today, and I'm really excited. One of them is the publisher of the handbook. So we'll be talking to Linda Secondari about being the publisher and about the surveys that are part of this book. So first of all, you can see that I have a lot of bookmarks in this book. And by the way, you don't have to be a member to buy this. Let me see. I think I have a QR code if you want to just learn more about it. Let's see. There it is. Okay, right in the top corner, unless you're watching on Instagram. If it worked on Instagram, I'm not sure that I'm broadcasting there. If it worked on Instagram, you won't be able to see it, but everyone else, you can see that little QR code right there. And if you click that, it'll take you to the website that tells you a little bit more about the Handbook, Pricing and Ethical Guidelines. And it's not just pricing, it's also guidelines. So there's some stuff to read. There's essential business practices, for example. There are parts of a design proposal. There are sections for that, and keeping track of your jobs, scheduling jobs. And then you get towards professional issues. Then you get towards the back of the book. I know everything you're seeing is backwards, so I'm not going to really hold up too much. Get to the towards the back of the book, and that's where you have artist agent agreement. So if you get an agent, you want to have some sort of legal form to fill out. There's a cease and desist letter, and then if you go a little further, you'll get all purchase order. You'll get to licensing agreements. You'll get to graphic designers estimates and confirmations, and then so you have all those contracts in there. But then in the middle there, you'll have different sections. So if you're an illustrator, there's an illustrator section, and you'll see that there's pricing in there. And how do we get that pricing? How do we kind of pull it all together? Well, we do that with surveys. And as I mentioned, my first guest, she's coming on board in just a couple minutes, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about the surveys, what goes into them, and how you can help, because everyone needs to help. Those surveys help us pull everything together and put it into the book so that your contemporaries and you can figure out how to price a job. Because let me know also in the chat how many of you have gotten a job where you had no idea how to price something, and then you had to guess. Hopefully you didn't have to guess. Hopefully you have some designer or illustrator or animator or web design friends who you could bounce pricing off, but maybe they live in different parts of the country, or maybe they don't work on projects that are as big as that one. So why don't we bring in my first guest, who can talk more in depth about this, and definitely more interestingly about this. So I'm going to bring in Linda Secondari. She's an award-winning creative director and principal at Studiolo Secondari, a design firm that in New York City, focusing on publication design, branding, and design strategy. Hello, Linda. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Of course, my pleasure. It was really nice of you to accept my offer to come in here so we could talk about this guy.
Yeah, the handbook.
Yes. Tell me about your connection with the handbook. I know it goes back further than even being the publisher on it.
Yeah, well, so as you mentioned, I'm currently the publisher of the handbook for the Graphic Artists Guild. So that's like a board position, but my day to day is managing the update of the handbook, which is a lot. It's a heavy lift. There's a lot going on. But my first engagement with the handbook was when I graduated from Parsons many eons ago, and I got a freelance gig, and it was like so exciting, but it was for a major not-for-profit. So right there was like a little complexity with the pricing. I'm not an illustrator, but I actually did an illustration as part of it. So there were all these elements, and I really just didn't even know where to begin to get pricing, much less how to like put an agreement together or even have an invoice, because this was before the internets and before computers, and like you really had to have that kind of paperwork already created. And one of my professors said, "Oh, well, you should get the Graphic Artists Guild's handbook for pricing and ethical guidelines." And I was like, "Wait, what? Wait, what?" And my first purchase, my first professional purchase, tax deduction purchase, was a copy of the handbook. And we just had some flooding in our storage basement. So unfortunately, I don't have that copy to like wave proudly in front of everyone, but I do have my 16th edition, my backward 16th edition, just like you, equally dog-eared and annotated as you, Ed. But yeah, so I mean, it's just always been this sort of indispensable resource for me, and obviously for the graphic arts community at large, for as it says, pricing and ethical guidelines.
Right.
So everything about ways of working, pricing, uh, how to approach the ideas of pricing. Because it's one thing to think like, oh, I kind of get to have a sense of like what my personal hourly rates are, or industry standards. But really, value pricing is what the handbook is teaching us all, because hourly rate pricing is really just a kind of a race to the bottom, because the longer you do something, the more confident you are at it, the faster it is. And that doesn't mean that your work should be devalued because it takes you less time to achieve that same end.
Did you notice the timing on that, where I put up that caption and then you said the confidence? And I was like, oh my gosh, we did not plan that,
We
folks.
did not plan that. We're just in sync.
Oh
We're like
my
very in handbook sync.
gosh. I still remember my first book. It was recommended to me by a client who was very much an advocate for artists. And in fact, she connected me with another guild, with a, well, I didn't even know about the guild. So she connected me with a guild member who helped me. She was so instrumental. I'm still friends with her. She's a wonderful human being and a wonderful cartoonist, illustrator, Lauren Scheuer. And it's because of her that I learned about the guild, but it's through that client that she recommended I get the Pricing and Ethical Guidelines handbook, because at that time she was hiring a bunch of illustrators and she could tell that I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And the importance of I was reminded of the importance of getting your pricing right early on from the start. And folks, this is so important. If you don't mind me, Linda, I'm going to take some of your moment here just to kind of explain. I just started a big project for a client, and I was hemming and hawing on where I should be with the pricing. And I looked at the book. It's sometimes some jobs you can't find the exact thing in the book. Plus, I didn't have all the information from the client yet, but I had to come up with a price because we were so rushed. So I came up with a number in my head, and before I put that down, I went into my files and looked at previous jobs for other companies, and I did one or two other jobs for this company, and I saw that the numbers were higher than I remembered. So in the end, I ended up pricing it about double what I thought originally I should do, and it was accepted. And so if my pricing earlier on had been too low, my pricing now would be too low. And so it's important right from the start. You pick up this book, you get the book, and you start from here, and you start by looking at these numbers and then talking to other artist friends who you might meet by coming to events or by volunteering at the guild. And
Definitely.
that's how you get your pricing right. And then from there, not to drop below that.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, and that's very much the approach that the handbook takes. There's so many variables in any project, as you just said. It's impossible for us to give you pricing for every instance that you're ever going to encounter. But between the pricing guidelines and then our approach to how you should approach pricing, you have a methodology that allows you to develop pricing for your project, no matter how specific.
Yes.
So, like an example of that is that in the 17th edition, which is what we're doing the surveys for right now, the 17th edition, which will publish in the fall of 2025, we are introducing social media marketing as an income stream, which we've never had before. We had social media in the 16th edition as a way to promote yourself as a creator, but we all know that clients want social media and we're charging them for social media, and there's very little information out there on social media pricing. But there are so many variables, I mean, what does that even mean? Like, how many platforms, what kind, are we talking about videos? Are we talking about reels? Are we talking about just visuals? Or, newsletters? Is that part of it? Are we, including copy? There are just so many variables that, we've really had to sort of like simplify our survey ask, because it's just impossible to get all that detail. But we will have some really good pricing points that then people can kind of elaborate on for all the varieties in their projects. But that's why we update the handbook every 3 to 5 years. It's because our industry is constantly changing, and we can't just sit on our laurels.
That's right. And I'm getting some great chats here. Pat, I'm very tempted to put the last chat in there, but I'm just going to avoid it. Um, he's joking about putting in, adding extra for the PITA fee. If anyone knows what the PITA fee is, I won't talk about it right now. So I know that a lot of my clients, when I first started out, and then now too, are new. They're small. They've never hired a designer or an illustrator, depending on what I'm doing for them. What I have found with the book is that I can refer to the book when they're looking for me to price a job for them. I refer to the book so that they know that my numbers aren't coming out of the blue. Like
Mhm,
my numbers aren't just I'm just looking around and saying, oh, there's a 1 there, there's a 12 there,
mhm,
and then put
mhm,
all the numbers together. It gives me something to refer back to. I don't have to show them the page I referred to, but I
mhm,
I tell them typically, well, I looked it up that we have the Pricing and Ethical Guidelines Handbook. I'm a member of the guild, um, and which I take seriously, like as a professional thing, that you can expect from me to be professional. And
mhm,
within there, there's a section on what you're looking for, and the pricing was from X to Y,
mhm,
and I chose to be, in the middle. I'm a little closer to Y because
mhm,
I've been doing this for a long time,
mhm,
and I can da 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 da. And then I sell them. I'm not
right,
manipulating them. I'm selling them, and that's something
mhm,
that a lot of artists forget to do, and
mhm,
designers forget to do. That you are a business and they might be or probably are talking to another designer or artist, and it depends on how you come across to them,
mhm,
so that even if your numbers are a little higher, which has
mhm,
been my experience in the past, sometimes they do choose you because you
mhm,
know what you're doing.
right. Yeah, and I think you make so many great points there. I mean, first of all, a great client isn't the client that picks the lowest price, that like right off the bat, I'm getting a whiff that that's going to be a pitta, you know. Um, so so that fear. I mean, obviously, we all want to win the jobs. We want to be making money. We have
Yeah.
bills to pay, but I am so against a race to the bottom.
Oh,
So being in the middle, I think is probably the best in terms of pricing. But at the end of the day, you have to price for your pricing, because there's nothing worse than to win a job. And I have been there, people, to win a job and to realize that you're basically losing money on this gig,
yeah.
that if it weren't for the fact that maybe you're not like writing yourself a check for every hour that you're working on this, that you are really losing money on this project. It sounded like it was going to be so great. You did all the things, you did the maths, but for some reason you're losing money on a gig, and that's just depressing, and obviously not a great approach generally in terms of business. So that's why having the handbook is really, it's just a great resource to, as you say, to sort of sense check yourself.
Right,
you know?
right. So the surveys have started going out,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they're available to people. And I'm going to put a QR code up for people to click, and you can. Oh, here we go. There we go.
Okay.
You can click that. You can QR that right there, and you can go to the surveys. So, Linda, tell me what I'll find when I click on that. When I go there.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So, first of all, you're going to sort of fill out a profile, which is going to establish that you are someone who we want to have take the survey. So, what does that mean? Typically, we're looking for people who have professional experience. So we ask you how long you've been working in the field. So if you're, a recent grad who's been working through school and have professional experience, that's totally fine. But if you're a recent grad who really has only done theoretical schoolwork and has never been in the field professionally, we'll ask you to wait a year or two before you can answer our survey. That's
Mhm.
how we keep our content relevant. Um, if we also, you have to have done work in the United States. Uh, so that's the other thing. You can be, living in Canada with clients in the US, totally good. But if all of your clients are in Germany, that's not going to work. We're not asking you to kind of like translate euros
Right.
to dollars, because there's so many variances in terms of, taxing and expectations and stuff. So, um, yes. So once you fulfill the profile, then we have a list of disciplines, and you select those areas that you do the most business in. Now, each of those disciplines, the survey can take anywhere from like 5 to 10 to maybe even 15 minutes. So don't pick the whole thing. You may be all the things, and God love you if you are, but pick the like 3 things that you do the most, or that you feel like the most knowledgeable in terms of your pricing. And then if you still love it, come back, tomorrow and do another 3 things. That's fine. Just don't pick like 7, because then you're going to be in the middle of survey, nonstop survey. But if you do find yourself in that position, you can pause, and it'll just ask you to like set up a little profile, and
Okay.
then you can come back to it. So, if all of a sudden you look up and you're like, damn, I got to pick up the kids from school, you can pause it. You won't lose your stuff. You just have to set up your profile, and then you can continue. And the best thing is, at the end of the survey, we ask you if you want to have your name thrown into our raffle. And as a way of thanking you for spending the time and giving us such valuable information. And our raffle includes a year subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud, which
Ooh,
is, more than $700 worth of value. It also includes some $100 art supply coupons from Blix, and a lot of Guild garb,
right.
Guild hat,
Right.
Guild mug, and some other things. We're still getting organizations and businesses to give us things that we can raffle. So that list just keeps going on. So it's worth it just for that, because I don't know about you, but my prices for Creative Cloud went up this year, and that was a little shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, I love that. I love that. I think a lot of people think when they're doing a survey, they think that they're going to be stuck for 2 hours. And I think maybe in the past, some of the surveys may have made you stuck for quite a long time. So I'm glad to hear that you can come back, first of all,
Mhm.
but I'm also glad to hear that some of them aren't that, horribly long.
Yeah.
And we can kind of get in and get out and get back to our work
Get back
while
to
also kind of giving back to our industry.
our industry, because
Yeah,
really this is our opportunity to influence pricing,
right.
and obviously we all have our own pricing. So I'm not, suggesting that we're price fixing or anything like
No,
that.
no.
But we are influencing pricing because, a lot, we published the 16th in 2020. So, inflation stuff has happened in the past 4 years,
Yes.
and we need to have that recognized in print, because as you said, it is the resource that we can use when we're talking to our clients. If we're getting some pushback, we can say like, well, based on the Graphic Artists Guild, the range is this. And so we want to see that range reflect pricing now, not
Yes.
pricing, 5 years ago
Right.
when
Right.
published. So this is our opportunity to inform that pricing.
So I only have you for another couple minutes.
Mhm.
So will there be a section? I know this is a developing topic, but will there be a section on AI, or will there be
Mhm.
any discussion about what to put in your contracts to, I'm not sure if I can use the word, to avoid
Mm.
your work being machine learned, but to help you.
Yeah, so AI is absolutely, we're looking at every aspect of our agreements
Yes.
and also just our advice through the lens of AI. But we all also realize that AI is just constantly changing. We don't even have any legislation yet, but Congress is looking into it. So although we will be including updates on AI in the handbook.
Yeah.
We will also have a QR code in the handbook that will link to a page on the website, which will be updated more often. Obviously, once the book goes to
Sure.
press, it's kind of locked on paper. But so we'll give you the best information at press time, and then we will have this website that when you have the book, you'll have the QR code,
I love that.
and you'll be able to go there and see the most updated information about AI
I love
specifically.
that. So we are talking about the handbook, pricing and ethical guidelines, and I only have Linda for probably another minute. So what we've been talking about, if anyone came in late, is how the new edition will be coming out. What was it? The fall of 2025? Is that what you said?
Fall 225. Yeah, 2025. Yeah.
So right now we are soliciting help filling out the survey. You can see the link right there.
Mhm,
There, I'm cut off.
mhm. Yeah.
Um, yes, thank you. And so everyone who can help, that would be wonderful.
Please
And
do.
in the meantime, this is still an amazing book. There's still so much in here, so many resources in here.
Yeah.
Um, chat at us and let me know if you think I've got it right by putting the bookmarks at the top, whereas Linda puts them on the
Yeah.
side. I mean,
I
come
put
on,
them
what's
on
up with that, Linda?
the side.
Yeah,
I put
actually,
them on the
it's probably
side.
smarter because
I
there's
am a
less space.
publishing professional, so I learned this technique in-house.
I'm gonna have to change my ways, I believe.
I do want to mention, though, for those of you who've purchased the handbook and maybe now are thinking, darn, I want to join the Graphic Artists Guild. And one of the things they do is they give you the handbook. I don't really need two handbooks. We give you a discount if you've already purchased the handbook. So you can go to our membership page, and we have all the information about telling us that you've already bought the book, and we'll give you a membership. We won't send you another book, but we give you a reduced price on the membership. So I hope that you guys would consider that, because we really are an organization that is created for our industry and to elevate graphic artists in the you know in the US
I love that.
especially, but all over the world. So
That's wonderful.
great
Now,
group to join.
so Justin, I will answer that in just a moment. I'm going to say goodbye to Linda. Linda, thank you so much for helping us to understand the surveys and helping us to understand the book. It's a fantastic book, as we've already discussed. It's great for holding down your scanner and making sure that your scans are nice and crisp. If anyone still scans, I mean, it's so rare that I do, but and we'll see you. We'll see you at events, and we'll see you on the
Absolutely.
board of the guild.
In New York, I'm talking at Mocha on March 16th. If anyone's in town,
Wonderful.
we've got a few guild people talking then. But thanks for having me. It's great to see you, Ed. I don't see you as much as I used
I
to.
know. I know. It's nice to see you. All right.
Okay.
Bye,
Thanks.
Linda. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Oh, that was so wonderful. So, thank you, Linda. That was so enlightening to hear your input on that. So I'm going to look for an answer to Justin, which was, how do we, there we go. I found the link. So if you go to the top right there, bing, 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 there's a QR code to learn more about joining the guild. And if that doesn't work, or you were looking for something else, just chat at me. So what I still have to do is tell you a little bit about some of the events coming up with the guild, but I'm kind of antsy to bring in my buddy Gary B. Martin. Um, so let's do that. And then what I'll do is at the end of our conversation, I'll talk a little bit about some of the upcoming events. If you have any questions about why you should become a member, um, please put it in the chat. I will address those. I've been a member for, I think, almost 30 years. Almost 30 years. I don't remember exactly when I started. I could ask Paula, who is the administrator, who's awesome, by the way. And but I've been a member because I recognize the value that the guild brings, and I also want to give back, and that's why I'm a volunteer as well. And if you want, oh, you know what? I'm going to put up another QR because I, along with James Stowe and then previously Terrence Moline, who I love dearly. We did Mind Your Creative Business, where we talked about the industry from different angles. So if you click that QR, it'll take you, I believe it'll take you to LinkedIn, where you can watch a bunch of our talks. I think we started it on Instagram though, so there might not be all of them there. So I'm going to bring in now, I'm going to close this up. No, I'll leave that up for just a minute. And I'm going to bring in now my friend Gary B. Martin, who's an editorial cartoonist, illustrator, and animator. There's thoughtful intelligence behind every Martoon's creation, mixed with a soupçon of irreverence and a large dollop of whimsy. Here
Well,
he is, Mr. Gary Martin. Hello, welcome.
thank you very much, Ed. You read that very, very nice.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much.
I hope
I love that. That's off of your website. I love that description of your work. And I love that you spent some time creating a description or a bio that kind of gives me kind of a flavor of who you are.
it's just one of the many flavors that are Gary. I'm Uma, I think. Is that the taste sensation where you get like everything?
Umami?
Umami, that's what it
Yeah.
is, yeah. I'm not a foodie.
Oh, you should be, because
No,
umami is very yummy.
no, I'm just fat. I'm not a
Oh.
I don't care about what I eat. I just need a lot of it.
So I know that you are an editorial illustrator, and and I know you. As I mentioned, you're also editorial cartoonist. You're
Absolutely.
also an illustrator. You're also an animator. You're also a great guy. I think you also play some guitar. Yeah,
Yes.
did I
I
get that right?
just I decided in my 40s that I wanted to learn how to play an instrument, and so I took some classes and then just practiced and practiced. And during the pandemic, I came across a bunch of people who were playing in a nearby park and outside because nobody was going inside. And now
Right.
there's a regular meet every week. It's wonderful.
So I love that you're a well-rounded individual, creative person. Um,
Is that a
but I
nice way
want
of
to
saying I'm fat? Because I've heard that before.
but I really want to concentrate more on your editorial work.
Okay.
Um, I know that you feel passionately about certain topics. We're going to keep things pretty general, but does it help? Does it help you to manage your stress or anxiety over the world by creating cartoons, by creating things that mock things that are going on in the world?
Uh, it doesn't alleviate the stress, but it certainly um, puts it on hold for a while I do something that I believe is proactive.
I see.
But the stress is not going to go away, unfortunately. But that's also, I think, I spend a lot of time reading newspaper headlines and stuff like that, and so uh, you see it, you read a lot of bad news, so the stress is going to be there. But yes, the creativity helps me deal with it.
Right. And I know that sometimes you and I talk about a current cartoon that that you're working on, just to kind of help fine tune it. And I throw things at you as well. and to get your opinion on whether or not I'm, hitting the nail on the head. And that's such an important part of being part of a community, of
Feedback.
first finding the community and then making use of the community. And I don't mean in like a using way, because it's a give and take always.
No, you use it as a community as opposed to as a, a bank or something. It's a community has, yeah. The fact when I found you guys, I've been
The guild,
off
yeah.
and on a member for years and years, but I had been off for a while, and I found you a few years ago. And when you're an artist, you are working alone a lot, and you do need other eyes. And so meeting these people that I've met through the guild, and you especially, and is that the Dylan-esque t-shirt you're wearing that you made?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's the coffee t-shirt, right?
That's my Bob Dylan, Milton Glaser coffee that I sell on Etsy.
Excellent.
Thanks. Go on.
Yeah, no, the community, it's huge. We were just talking yesterday. I sent you a cartoon that, sometimes the point is very clear to me because I'm coming up with the point, but it's not clear to my viewers. And so you need other people to bounce uh, um, feedback off of.
Right. And I
And
find it to be a kind of like a muscle that you have to keep working
yeah,
and working on. And, you start to build that muscle to start learning what to leave out, what to take away.
right.
What is that like when you get I think this is mostly for women, that I've heard of it for women, but you get dressed and then you look in the mirror and the first thing you see, you take away.
Right.
So, you take away the bracelet, or you take money. So after a while with a cartoon, you kind of know, first of all, what not to put into it. And I've seen that from you. I've seen you you're like, the whole point of an editorial cartoon is to just be real sharp.
And it's
And
supposed to be if it's a cartoon as opposed to an illustration, the cartoon is supposed to be like you're supposed to get a visceral reaction from.
yes,
It's supposed to get to you unconsciously.
that's right.
An illustration is more. I'm illustrating an article, so that's a different purpose. But for the cartoons, yeah, it's got to hit you right away.
Yeah, and as you build that muscle and people kind of point things out to you, your community points out, oh, you don't need this, or that wording isn't quite right, and you start to figure it out yourself, which is, I think how any business works, like how any professional works. You start a new business and you learn from your mistakes, and hopefully your mistakes aren't enormous mistakes where you're losing thousands of dollars. Instead, maybe this cartoon didn't fly, and you're like, wait a minute, why didn't that work? Why didn't anyone laugh at that? Why didn't I get any thumbs up? Or and you have to take the time to just kind of pick it apart, or you ask a friend who kind of tells you, honestly what they think. That wasn't sharp enough. I didn't get it, or I just found that offensive. And
Right.
sometimes, there was a cartoon you sent to me recently that could have been offensive, but I asked the right questions, I think, and you knew that it could be. If
I sent it to you
wrong.
because I wanted that opinion. I
Yeah.
needed that feedback.
Yes, yeah. So, to that end, I think you and I met at the show off and tell events, right? Is that
Yeah. A couple years
and
ago.
a couple years ago, during the pandemic, actually, so a little more than a couple years ago, right?
My God.
So,
yeah.
and that's an event that happens once a month through the New England region. Joe Kendra is the one who runs that one, and it's a great event to. Here, I actually have a QR code for it. It's a great event to just kind of hang around with other artists and either just sit there and listen, or ask questions, show your work, and
If you want to.
yep. And I know the date on this is off. This particular QR code says 11/8, but
Yeah,
if you
there was
click on
one
it, I
last
think it
night,
takes
I
you.
think. So the next one will be in March.
Yeah, I have it up over here. The next one is March 27.
Right.
Show off and tell, and
The
it's
day before my birthday, by the way,
oh, when's your birthday?
March 28th. You don't do math well.
No, I don't do math well. I was under the opinion there would be no math involved in
Okay,
this Guild Goes Live today, so I'm a little bit thrown off here.
that's all right.
So Pat was asking if you're a marker pencil guy. You are a digital artist, right?
Yeah, I'm a digital artist and a charcoal pencil
Oh,
guy.
right.
I love years ago, I started doing political stuff by drawing cartoons in charcoal on newspapers, directly onto newspapers. Um, um, some of them would be commentary on the newspaper that they were on, but mostly they were just drawings, and newspaper was my textured paper that I
Right.
was drawing on. And I really like drawing with charcoal pencils. So what?
I I actually bought one of yours off of, was it Redbubble? It was a
Yeah,
downloadable PDF.
in Etsy, actually.
Oh, was it Etsy? It was a downloadable PDF of a bunch of
Oh,
those
that's
illustrations.
Etsy.
Yeah, and they're gorgeous. They're really wonderful. But you're on Redbubble and Etsy, correct?
I'm on Redbubble and Etsy and Cafe Press.
Mm,
Um, but different because I don't years ago I did start to produce product and had, inventory and stuff like that. I don't really I'm not in a position to do that now, so I'm just using the print on demand website so that I don't, end up with a bathroom filled with t-shirts and stickers living
Oh,
in
print on demand. We could have a long talk about that. I mean, that's how I do these. These are all
yeah,
print on demand.
yeah.
I use a company that Etsy goes to. When I get an order, it goes to this company, and then they fulfill it and they ship it, and
Wait a second, you can do print on demand at Etsy?
through another company. So you can connect it. So there are a couple different companies. The one I use is Printify, and you
Uh,
can set up your shirt. You set up your you
account.
connect to your Etsy shop. You set up your account, and then you choose your shirt. You choose the whatever apparel. It can be mugs, it can be other
Right.
things, and then you put your design up there, and you move it around, get it just right, and then you find a printer that's going to print it on that shirt, and you could do a few different colors, and then then you say publish, and it sends it over to Etsy, and then over at Etsy, it I mean, the photos aren't that great, so I always recommend updating the photos that they send over, and then it's live.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, we can. That's a topic for another time. In fact, I might for one of the show off and tells, I might actually just do a quick tutorial on that, showing my screen and showing how yada yada. So there's a mailing list you can get on, folks. If you're interested, you can go get on the guild's mailing list, and you'll get I don't know, it's not even weekly, it's every few weeks. You'll get an email with all the events coming up, and that's where I want to go in 2 minutes. I want to hear a little more from Gary, and then I'm going to tell you all about some of the events coming up, and then I'll sign off because we're pretty much nearly at the end. I'm not even sure how long Yannick wanted me to be on. Was it 45 minutes or an hour? So I think we're going to be going for probably another 10 minutes. 2 more minutes with Gary, and then Gary, I'm going to kick you off. So I know that
I'll miss you.
I know, I'm sorry, but we can high five. Ready? Ready? Can you do it? High five right there, right there. No, no, right here in the middle. Yeah, there you go. High five. Oh, nice. Um, so um, I know that you have an Instagram account where you put your editorial cartoons and sometimes your animation.
Yeah,
Maybe after this, you can just kind of put a link in LinkedIn and
sure.
Twitter X if you want. And I really don't think that we're coming through from on Instagram. And I apologize to anyone who wanted to watch on Instagram, but I think I fumbled something on my way in. So, Gary, anything else you want to add about the guild or your work?
The guild is very important to me. Ed is one of the best people I've ever met in my entire professional life. And I'm wearing a hat.
I love your hat.
That's all I got.
If I'd known, I would have worn my hat. All right. Thanks,
Next time.
Gary. Great to see you. Thanks for joining me today.
My
And we'll see
pleasure,
you
man.
over on social media.
You got it.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Oh, I cut him off right at the end there. Gary, thank you so much. That was really great. It was really nice to have him here. And he's one of those people I've met through the guild. I actually have only met him once in real life when he was nearby. He came into town, but otherwise I only know him virtually, and he's a fantastic guy. And that's what community is all about. You meet a lot of people who not only can help you, with your business, or with answering questions, but also people you actually like. So it's nice. So let me tell you a little bit about what's going on at the guild, and then we're going to sign off. And by we, I mean the royal we. So I have, let's see, we have an event calendar. I just switched it over there. This is now a link to our event calendar for March. And on March 1st, you have this event. Hi, you're here already. You're already like on the ball. And then we have an event called Freelance Fandango. It happens every Sunday. And the next one is this Sunday. So it's and March is a long month, apparently. So it's 5 times this month. It's the 3rd, 10th, 17th, and the 31st. And let's see, Freelance Fandango. I'm going to put that right down there. That's a link to it. Free event, virtual, Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Show up, talk about stuff, build a community. That's what it's all about, right? And then so that's the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th. And then do I have a link to this? No. We have a webinar that is on the 20th. And this one, if anyone here is on LinkedIn and fumbling LinkedIn sometimes, this one's called Using LinkedIn, Tortoise and Hare Strategies. It's Leanne Bowers and Bethany Jukes. They're going to be presenting. And here's a quick explanation. Join us for a webinar on Mastering LinkedIn for Artists. We'll cover profile essentials, effective content consumption, and leveraging data for targeted connections. Learn from our experiences and gain actionable insights to enhance your professional visibility and business strategy on LinkedIn. Don't miss out. You can't be seen by clients if you don't put yourself out there. So that's our next webinar. Whoops, I just clicked something. That's our next webinar coming up. No, I'm clicking the wrong thing. There we go. The event calendar back up. There we go. And our webinars are free to members. They do cost if you're not a member. So become a member and you can watch that webinar, and you can watch the entire library of webinars for free as a member. Highly recommended, especially the ones that I've done because they're awesome. No, just kidding. So, but importantly, there's also a page on the Guild's website. So if you go to, there's a page that has a lot of free resources for, for higher ed. And on there, you can find a webinar called, and I'm pulling it up right now, and my website isn't popping up. There it is. It is a webinar that we just did called Copyright Basics, Updated for AI. And that is only about a month old. And Rebecca Blake, who's wonderful, talks us through Copyright Basics. And if you have a chance, you can go to the Guild's website. That's graphicartistguild.org. And then at the top, click Resources and go to Higher Ed. It's that simple. I'm looking to see if if I already have a link to it, but I don't seem to. So there, and that whole page has a lot of different resources that are free, and you can check them out. And if you want to become a member, you can click Join the Guild at the top. It is a wonderful organization looking out for each other. And I highly recommend that you come on and join us and come to a Freelance Fandango, come to a show off and tell, check out the webinars, check out whatever else we have. What else did we have on the calendar? I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. That we also have, show off and tell is March 27. And then the Lone Artist, I have an image for that. The Lone Artist, giddy up. That's the wrong day. That's an older one. So that one's on March 28th. So if you click that, you can sign up. It's free. It's another event where you can just meet people. And if I may recommend that you not only show up once, you show up a few times, because that's how you build a community. You show up, people recognize you, and you walk in the door and everyone goes, Norm! And if you grew up watching Cheers like I did, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Otherwise, it might go over your head. That's okay. So that's the 28th. Like I said, the 27th is Show Off and Tell. I'm going to click on that and put that up. And that's going to be on March 27. And then that's our month. So there are a lot of free events that you can attend and help build your business, help build your community, help find people like you who can help answer questions, who can help you with your business. So that's it for today. I want to thank Yannick DaCosta for trusting me to do this right. And I hope I did this okay. I hope that all of you will take a moment to fill out a survey right there, because it is important for our industry. It's important for all of us. It's important to make sure that Joe Schmo over in another state is not lowballing you because they have no idea what their pricing should be, or they're not aware of the book. This will, help get the word out about the book. Even though so many people know about it, there are always more people that need to be aware, so that we can all make sure that we're supporting each other. So again, thank you, Yannick, for allowing me to do this Guild Goes Live. I hope you all enjoyed it. I would love to see the comments later. I'll try to respond on the various socials. And otherwise, you can find me at EdFredNed everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'm going to say goodbye.